Hi, I'm Dean Walker. I'm back with part two of Portraits on Paper, and we'll be showing you how to use soft tones and detailing. Of course, I mix my own colors, and if you take a look, I have a four-stage color sequence that I use, and the colors are mixed with a transparent yellow, green, and magenta. Remember, you can add white to lighten it, and a little bit of brown or black to darken it. This can be used on a wide range of flesh tones. What I'm going to do is go in, and I'll be editing this as I go, but I'm going to go ahead and do some soft tones on the face to start blending it in. Usually you'll wind up with about 4 or 5 colors blended in together to make a portrait look lifelike. With a little practice, you'll start to see how these portraits start to look. It's going to look more like you painted it instead of airbrushing it with the color mixture that I'm using. I'm going to give you a little trick here in a little bit on how to go in and put the skin tone and the little pimples and reflections into the skin. And remember, when you're doing a portrait, it's always best to go from light to dark, not dark to light, because you can't erase over this stuff, so you have to keep it clean. I'm going to show you a quick effect to make the little pimples and imperfections in the skin. What I'm going to do, I'm going to stop, run a small cleaner through my gun. And remember, this is being done with just a single airbrush, not a different kind of airbrush. It's just one airbrush that I'm using. All I'm doing is putting the tip on, and I'm going to take a white. This is a transparent white. Most people will tell you not to use a white on a portrait, but you can use a white as long as you keep it light and use a transparent, and I'll show you how. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use a small stippling effect to get the pores onto the skin. And if you notice, I'm using a very, very light tone to make it look more realistic. If you keep practicing with this, you'll be able to get a smooth, even tone. What we're going to do now is we're going to take an electric eraser, and we're going to go ahead and add detail to the face. You won't use a high-speed eraser on paper because you'll burn a hole through it. So this is the low speed. I've actually rounded off the tip on it so it'll be easier to go in and put the detail. If we can come down here, I'm going to show you what we're going to do. We're going to take it and go forward, and you're going to create just a small wrinkle effect on the face. What that does is it'll give you a lifelike skin tone on top of the white. We just put the splatter effect on it, the stippling effect. This should take about 20 to 30 minutes. It's going to be edited. But once you get it, you'll see the detail in the face. But by using transparent colors, you can go back over these and always make it look lifelike. You don't want any hard edges when you're doing a portrait. I'm going to come up here to the eyes, and you'll be able to see a little bit of a wrinkle as you go in. When you lay your first layers of transparent paint, you can easily go in and take some of the layers off and create the line effect on it. You won't do it on all of the portrait, but you'll do it on enough to give it a realistic look. If you notice, I'm starting to get that. Everybody has the wrinkles and lines on their face. Most time you won't see them unless you get up close, but that's the trick to doing realistic portrait work. You want to make it look as real as possible. Once you're done, you'll be able to see the stippling effect in the paint along with the texture and the lines that's been put on with the electric eraser. You'll go back over that with a soft tone, which in this case will be the part 2 of it, and that will give it a nice even skin tone on top of the skin texture, and it looks more real as you go. Real quick, before I finish, I'm going to go and give you another step, which is going to be the hairlines. I'm going to take, actually, the flesh tone 3, excuse me. The hairstyle that I'm doing is basically her own hairstyle, but what I'm doing is I'm layering colors on top, and I'll come back with the finer line later in the eraser to cut into detail. What I'm going to do is basically start laying out the hair. And in this case, I'm going to go with a little bit of darker color and come back over with a lighter color later, and it'll still give me the same detail. With an airbrush, as long as you remember your basic 4, you can lay your shading and your lines at the same time. This will take a while to finish, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and keep laying the detail in, and then on part 3 we'll come back and we'll finish up with all of the highlights, and that'll be it for today.